Kleshae woman, she got the moon in her eye.
Hey everyone, it's Kylie and Zori back at the podcast. Today we thought we would touch on tarot cards. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with tarot cards, but there's something we love to do.
Yeah, you were there when I got my first deck.
Yes.
When was that?
And then I got the same deck because you convinced me.
Yeah.
But then I lost that deck, sadly.
I fell in love with tarot because I just love the idea of like creating a story with pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like kind of makes sense for just like old people in general, like tattoos and like shit tells stories. But also just the idea of like, I don't know, all the shit behind it. It just seems so like mystical.
Yeah.
And I just kind of was like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
That's I was like, I need to like get a deck, and so I got a deck and started there. And boy, is everything different now than when I first got the deck. I'm looking up. Oh, go ahead.
For beginners,
Yes.
if you're looking at getting a tarot deck, the Rider deck.
Rider-Waite.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who get tarot decks and don't get Rider-Waite and are fine.
It's just one of the easier
it's totally
ones.
fine. I think it's a good way to start.
Yeah.
Like a good base to have. For example, you know how like the base of like all dance is ballet?
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel about the Rider-Waite deck. Like you don't need to start in a ballet class, but if you take one, it'll make everything else way easier.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about Rider-Waite. There's a lot of versions of Rider-Waite too that are different. Like I know somebody who has a Rider-Waite deck, but it's all black and white.
Oh, that's cool.
So that could be a good first one too. Because it's still Rider-Waite. It's just, it is kind of different, but it's still like the same.
Yeah.
I also know a friend that got a deck and it was just confusing.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's like mine now.
It was just like grass and leaves.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know what this means. And I was like, I don't either, bitch. Like,
because it doesn't tell you anything when you go to buy the deck. Like you can't like open it all up and see every card, and there's no.
I used to look up like deck. Oh my god, I need to fall back into this. I totally forgot I used to do this, but I used to go on YouTube and look up like my deck collection, and they would go through and not show like every single card. They would show like the art on the cards.
Yeah.
So you could kind of see what the cards look like before you go and like purchase it. Which is so awesome because it is kind of annoying to like go buy one and then you're
they're
like,
expensive, you know?
Yeah.
It can be like $30, $40. Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, it is kind of a challenge though. I feel like it's kind of fun to go and like get a deck that you don't really know and kind of just challenge yourself to like use it. Yeah. At the same time, it can be really frustrating if you're first.
If you're if that's your first deck,
don't fucking do that. Don't fucking do
that.
that. And if somebody gave you one that you can't understand, get it right away and just like start there and then kind of like compare the cards, because I did that with my friend. She has a fairy deck and it's just confusing as fuck to look at, and she's worked with it for a really long time now and she still doesn't fully get it, but like it's better. And I brought my Rider-Waite and we just kind of compared the cards that were supposed to be the same and see what similarities we could find and what vibe it gave us. And some of them were really similar even though they were completely different pictures, and then other ones were just like, I still don't fucking get this. But get a Rider-Waite. It's really good.
The one I have now, I bought it solely based on the artwork of it. I thought it was so cool. It was like the whatever movie that is with oh my god, now I can't remember his name. He was famous. He had red hair. He was gay, I think. What was his name? He was in Labyrinth.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Because I still haven't seen Labyrinth.
So who was that? Anyways, it was like the illustration of like Pan's Labyrinth, like the cards. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to buy it.
That's awesome.
And then I bought it, and it's really confusing. Obviously, besides like the main cards, like you know, but it has a lot of cards in it that are literally just like the wands are there's like the little like clocks, and I just don't understand. Like when I pull that by myself, I'm like, what? Yeah. It's four of this. Decks, what does that actually mean?
We have to go over the 4 suits. So a lot of the decks, like artsy decks, will take a different take on the 4 suits. So the original Rider-Waite 4 suits are it's wands, pentacles, swords, and cups. Wands, pentacles, swords, and cups. And then I know there's like some nature ones that instead of wands they'll do like something else, but it looks similar. Like they'll just do different things. And then all the suits are associated with elements. So wands is fire, cups is water, swords is air, and then what's the other one? Why do I keep pentacles? Pentacles is earth.
Okay.
And then they all have different like connotations. Like swords is air, and it has a lot to do with like mental things. If you look through the story of swords, you find a lot of like anxiety and like different mental turmoil that you deal with. Story of Pentacles, it's earth, but it's also, it deals with money, financial, or just abundance in general, not just money. Like just financial strain, financial gain, like the differences and dichotomies there. And then Cups is all about emotions, different emotions, not always love. And then Wands is about action. And that makes sense with the fire.
Yeah.
So once you understand those elements, it makes it a lot easier to understand the cards. That's what I found. Yeah. I want to read this little blurb about the history of tarot.
Okay.
So the earliest references to tarot all date to the 1440s and 1450s and fall within the quadrilateral defined by the north cities of Venice, Milan, Florence, Urbino. Because of some of the complicated nature of the game, by that point it's likely that it had begun evolving earlier in the century. So it goes all the way back to 1440s.
That's so, of course.
I know. I learned, like, I forget where I heard it before, but I know there was religious aspects to it, not like Christian, like necessarily, but a lot of like different stories of life, and it dates all the way back to the 1440s, which is so crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That like people were just interested in like telling stories in that way. So I mean, I guess I kind of want to know. So have you ever read for anybody?
Yeah, I've read for a couple people.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is like your like approach with like reading for people?
I've only done a couple, so I've usually done like, especially if it was their first reading, I kind of like did the past, present, and future.
Yeah.
Or is that the one? Yeah, past, present, and future.
That's like the standard.
Yeah, it's that one, or there was one with 4. It was either a 3 or 4 card pull. I'm trying to think. But I think I usually do past, present, future if it's like their first one.
Yeah.
Like suggest that. That seems to be like kind of a easy thing.
Yeah. I think I always end up pulling 3.
Yeah.
Unless somebody just has a question, I let them kind of like tell me how many cards that they want. If they want like a clarifier card, we'll pull that. But like 3 is a magic number for me. I'm like, we'll do 3 and that'll be good. Yeah, and I kind of take the approach of, like, I'm not reading your future. I'm just telling you what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I feel very much... I fell into this, like, TikTok spiral of this girl on TikTok named Light Wands. And she really changed my entire perspective on tarot and how I read it. Which is why I, like, kind of know the story of each suit now. Because I used to see all the cards, like, individually.
Right.
And now I see a story. If you lay out, like, all of the cups or all of the swords, specifically swords, if you laid all of those out, like, in chronological order, you see a story, like, in front of you. And it makes sense. And then it makes it so much easier to take a piece of that story and put it in context with other cards when you understand it that way. So it's I don't know, it's so interesting. And, like, everybody reads like so differently, but yeah.
Or sometimes though I feel like if your deck is a little bit more complex, sometimes I feel like I keep pulling like more cards because I need more clarification and answers because I'm a little confused on it being like only 3 cards if it's a more complex deck.
See, I'm gonna say though, I love like readings with a lot of cards. I just don't read a lot of cards.
Yeah.
That overwhelms the fuck out of me. Can I do it? Probably. Do I want to attempt it? No. But I love like watching readings where people are like, I'm pulling 6 cards right now. I'm like, oh what the fuck's going on? And I remember one of my poetry club things turned in, like, only 4 people showed up, including me. And somebody brought out their tarot cards, and we all just started being, wait, you guys do tarot? And we all found out we all did tarot at the same time.
That's cool.
And that was my friend that had the black and white Rider-Waite.
Oh, yeah.
And then so we just started reading each other, and he had runes. So we just, like, we're doing the damn thing. And he does, like, a 6-card reading for somebody, and I'm looking at the cards, like, interpreting shit. Yeah. And I was like, I would never have, like, allowed myself to pull 6 cards, but sitting here, I can read it. Right. I'm, like, understanding what's happening, but at the same time, if somebody was like, I want 6 cards, I would be like, let's not. I don't want to fucking do that. Actually, let's just do 3.
How do you, like, pull yours? Like, or have them? Like, do you, like, lay it all out?
So,
like
here's the evolution of how I pick. Because I overthink. I'm a fucking overthinker. I'm an overthinker. So, when I first started, like, I think I saw somewhere that it was, like, fan them all out.
Yeah.
And, like, this is so extra. But fan them all out. And then I would close my eyes and hover my hand over all of them until I felt like a tingle.
Yeah, that's what I
And then I would pick that card. But then here's the shit with an overthinker like me. I'm like hovering my hand, I feel a tingle, I look down, I'm like, is it this one or this one?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, shit, I'll just pick both. And I'm like, that's not what.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, was I supposed to pick both? And then I'm overthinking it all. And then, you know, I feel like after TikTok tarot readings blew up, everybody was like...
Yeah, doing that.
Smacking the cards, and they're all jumping
Flying
out. This one was meant for you. It's like, bitch, you're throwing them. So I do shuffle that way, because I feel like it's a really efficient way of shuffling. Yeah. But when something jumps out, I literally almost always put that bitch. I put that bitch back in.
Come back in.
I put that bitch back in. Like, sometimes I'll take it as a sign.
Or you'll just look at it and be like...
It very much depends. I very much take
That's not relatable.
Take what resonates, leave what doesn't.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it. I know I feel like to so many people it probably sounds like a cop out of like, if this feels wrong, it's just like, don't ignore that. Like, you know what I mean? But I feel like that's accurate. That's the whole point of tarot. Like, if I'm reading for you and something doesn't make sense, leave it.
Yeah.
You don't need to overthink it. I think that's the whole point of it. Don't overthink it. Because the whole point of tarot, at least to me, is divination, which is not like the earth necessarily is telling me this. I mean, in a way, yes, but like not like a specific like essence or entity is telling me this. It's more of like I'm figuring out what I already need to know and already know based off of what I see. Yeah, like it's the way you perceive things, right? Yeah. So if somebody gets the 2 of Swords and which is like, I mean, if you don't know what that looks like, look it up. Because I'm not about to explain the whole thing. But if somebody gets the 2 of Swords and they're in the middle of trying to figure out whether or not to take a job, then they're going to see it like, oh, I have a decision to make. Yeah. But if somebody else sees the 2 of Swords and they, like, I don't know, something else, like overthinking something or like are blind to something, then they might see it that way. And it's like, that card represents so many different things. That's the whole point, is it's a picture. Yeah. So you take what resonates and you leave what doesn't. Yeah. But yeah, so I started now, I don't read for myself. I don't read for myself. I'm trying to think about my pick. When I read for other people, I shuffle. Mm-hmm. And I tell them to think, I have them shuffle it a little bit. Yeah. But then I take over the shuffling. We figure out their question, and I tell them to look at the cards while I'm shuffling, thinking about the question. I tell them, you gotta focus. Because I know, this is one of those things where, like, I think we talked about this, but, like, I don't like reading for people who are, like, oh, like, tarot, like, this is magic. Yeah. Like, you know, this person's a psychic. Like, that's not the vibe. Like, if you understand tarot, like, I feel like the best people to read for are people who already have decks. Right. Like, because they get the vibe of, like, this isn't like like, I'm not trying to like be like, ooh, like I know your future. So when you read for people like that, the entire time you're shuffling, they're not thinking about their question. They're just like, what is she gonna fucking tell me? Yeah. You know what I mean? So the vibes are just not there. Yeah. But I'm like, you need to focus. I'm like, meditate, think about your question while I shuffle the cards. Tell me when, and then we'll take that card out. Mm-hmm. And that even happens where I'm overthinking shit. Where sometimes they'll say when, and then like 2 cards are out, and I'll be like, which one? And they'll be like, this one. And I'll be like, cool. I'm like, awesome. So, that's how I do it then. And when I read for myself, I honestly kind of will just, I guess, tell myself when. Like, it is I very rarely read for myself. I want to more. I love the idea of, like, having conversations with my deck and talking to it. And when I do, it's always a good vibe. But I don't know why there's, like, a weird business relationship between me and my decks. Like, my Rider-Waite deck is so straightforward. Mm-hmm. Very nice. Yeah. Very good energy. You can use me with anybody. Yeah. I'll help anybody out. Yeah. I'm like, cool. I've interviewed this deck like twice. Yeah. And I'm like, good vibes. Just good vibes. It really was. And it honestly makes sense. Like the first time I interviewed it, it didn't make any sense to me. Because I was like, okay, well, I haven't used this deck. Yeah. But I was just like, I don't know. And then after having it for so long, I did a different interview with it, and all the answers were just very much, I was like, this is the vibe that this deck gives me. Of just like a friend that's always like, oh, you want to come over? Yeah. Like, we can just hang out. Like, it's fine. And it's so, I don't know, it's so interesting. So I don't read a lot for myself, like I said, but I want to more. I just don't know. A lot of times I figure shit out on my own. Yeah. But it's like, you don't always have to go to tarot just to figure shit out. So it's like, I kind of want to just have fun with it. Yeah. And that's where I'm at with tarot right now.
I think I read for myself a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Just because I was like, I just like want an answer on something. I don't know. But it is just sometimes weird vibes, especially with a deck I'm not like super confident with. Sometimes like it's just a very hard deck. Like
sometimes I'll just pick a card randomly. Yeah. Like I'll just be like, I feel like I want to pick a card. And that's the closest I get. And I do that like semi-often. Still not very often, but semi-often. And that's like the closest I get to like really reading for myself anymore. Like I don't do like a full like
I think it's easier when someone reads it for you because then they're telling you like, oh, tell me when to stop. Oh, pick the card. When I fan my stuff out and I'm just staring and I'm like, all right, close my eyes and pick one, should I look?
Like, I think that aspect alone is why I don't read for myself. It's not even about the cards and what I get. It's literally about picking them. Yeah. That I'm like, I need somebody else to pick these cards for me.
So like if my eyes are open, I'm like, oh, that one's sticking out a little bit. Yeah. It's bothering me so bad I want to pick that one. Yeah, I know. And then I'm like, oh, 5 of my cards are on top of each other, so they're not even getting...
I know.
Because I can't fan it all the way out.
Exactly. So I'm like, are these ones even...
Yeah, that part really bothers me. And then if I pick a card that I like don't resonate with or don't understand, I'm like, oh, it's because I literally set it up wrong.
No, I know. And sometimes I like to marinate on them too, because I have that one story of when I like picked 3 cards right after my breakup and was like, I kind of get it, but I don't really understand. Yeah. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I was already emotional, so I was like, fuck this. Whatever, I'm putting them away. And then it was like way after all the shit went down after my breakup, and I like was going through my phone and I saw the picture of the cards. Because I took a picture because I was like, I'll save it for later if whatever comes up. But I was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense to me right
now. Oh, okay. I see.
I open it up and I was like, the way my jaw dropped because I was like, this makes all the sense in the world. Now, where it's like in that moment, I was like, I don't fucking even get what this is trying to say to me. Yeah, I was like, I'll take a picture just in case. But I was like, I don't get what it... I am one of like, I'm not going to say the biggest, but I'm definitely... I feel like there's just something in me that's always a little bit skeptical about tarot. And I feel like that just proves to me that tarot is so, like, amazing even more. Because it's, like, almost every single time I read for somebody. Not even almost. Every single time I read for somebody, I'm like, ugh. I'm, like, waiting for the shit to just me to be like, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. But as soon as, like, I see it, I, like, look, and it just all starts to, like, meld together and I start talking and I'm like, this is it. I'm like, no, this makes sense. And then the person will affirm it and I'm like, this just makes like, all the sense in the world. So it's like, and somebody said to me once, they were like, I feel like tarot is just like seeing the pictures and then making something up on the spot. And I was like, well, kinda. But not like in a way where you're pretending. It's literally like, what are you feeling? Like, it's not like in a way where it's like, ooh, I have to make something out of this. It's like the cards are going to tell you what the fuck's going on. Yeah. And it took me, it used to be a thing where I would lay them out and I would straight up tell people if I was reading for them, I was like, it's going to take me a minute. Because I was new to it. Yeah. So I was definitely new to reading for other people too. I was like, it's going to take me a second. I would look at the cards for a while and realize, and I was like, this is probably making them even think more that this is bullshit. So I'm just like, it's gonna take me a second, but I'm like, and I always tell people too, because sometimes I don't even understand what's going on the card. And I let people know, I'm like, you asked this question for a reason.
Right.
So you know more than I would what this means, but I'm going to give you, like, 3 different things that it could mean. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you to tell me what it means, because that's not my business.
Right.
Like, tarot is really for you. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm interpreting the cards for you. Yeah. And, like, letting you take what makes sense and leave what doesn't, literally. Because I don't know what's going on in your life, and I don't claim to know what's going on in your life. I have, like, a whole disclaimer in my tarot journal. Yeah. I'm like, disclaimer, I'm not reading your future.
Yeah. Do you ever whip out the little, like, not dictionary, what is it? The little, like... book? Yeah, with, like, the references to what it means.
The book that came with Rider-Waite, I don't have. Oh, no, I do have it. I don't use it. I think I used it when I first got it, and I remember I was so annoyed because I would look up, like how to get into tarot and like how to read tarot, and people would be like, don't use the book, and I'd be like, what the fuck am I supposed to use then? Like, and they'd be like, look at the pictures. But I think it's a perfect, and I've heard a couple other people say this too, so I'm not going to discount everybody, but I think it's a perfect thing to do the middle round, which is interpret the cards first and then read the things. And that's what I did for a really long time, which was like so hard. Because you just want to know right off the bat, especially if you're somebody who's into tarot because they've seen other people do it. You just want to know what the fuck's going on. So when you don't know, you just are like, this is fucking stupid, but it takes time. It really does. And I would just like look at the pictures and be like, what could this mean for my life? And I wouldn't know. And then it would take time, but it is really like a mental game. Like you have to train yourself to be able to interpret these like pictures together and how to do them together. Because there was even a while I was like, I was able to interpret the cards individually, but not really together. I was like, I don't really know what that has to do with this. Yeah. Like, those are two. I'd be like, I wouldn't even tell people that. I'd be like, I don't really know what the fuck this is, but these two are giving me a vibe. And now I feel like I'm way better at, like, reading them all together because I see the full picture more than, like, just the cards that are in front of me. I can think about, like, the suit of, oh my God, there's, like, so many different angles to look at tarot from, and I feel like I've done and seen so many different kinds of it that it finally all compiled in my brain to where I can do it, which is why I feel like it's easier for me to read now, because like if you, for example, get 2 major arcana cards, that's gonna point something out to me. I'm like, okay, these are 2 big messages. Yeah. If you have a bunch of yellow even in all of your cards, that says something to me. I'm like, there's a lot of yellow. These color schemes are similar. The way the characters are facing. It's just so weird. Like, I remember in that one reading, in my poetry club, somebody had like, I think it was like 5 cards. And on the end was like the Magician. And we were all kind of like interpreting together because we all did tarot. Yeah. But I was like, it was so interesting because then on the other side there was this knight like holding, I think it was the Knight of Cups, like holding the chalice. And I was like, the Magician has like every suit in the card on it. So I was like, this is so interesting because it's almost like he's bringing, like, because he was facing the Magician. So that was like kind of ringing bells in my brain of like, this knight is bringing the tools like to you that you need, and you need to like utilize them. And the knight is you and like all this other shit. Like I forget what the spread was, but you start to just see it in a different way when you notice more than just like, what is this card supposed to mean? Right. So I think it's so important to use the book. The book that it comes with is honestly kind of shit in my opinion. But if that's all you have, that's all you have. Right. I got one from Earthbound. Not Earthbound. Earthbound. But not that one. The Mystic? Not that one. No, it was from the Earthbound in the mall. Like, and that's where I got this.
That's so cute. But I want to go there.
It was a book called Tarot Companion, and they really break it down.
Oh, that's good.
And it basically breaks it down, like, upright, reverse, what it can mean if you're for a job, what it can mean for this. And so what I would do, and then, like, the overall, like, words that are associated with it. And so what I would do is read that page, and then that's how I started writing my own. Like,
do you have that book?
I don't have it with me.
Oh, but you have it.
Yes, but I have it. I would read the page and then be like, okay, so what areas in my life does this remind me of?
Right.
And then I would go and write it in here. And I can, like, even show you a couple in, like, comparison.
Yeah.
So you can see. Let's see. And then for the people listening, I'll tell you what card it is so you can look it up. There's, like, some funny ones in here where I literally was like, this is... But in the meantime, would you have, like, tarot books or anything?
I'm trying to think. No, I definitely need to get one because now that you said, I want to get that book that you just mentioned. Because that actually would help me, like, because I have an astrology book, and then that, like, honestly helps break things down a lot. I have, like, obviously magic books, and that Misconceptions of Witchcraft, that was so good. Like, so I definitely need a tarot one because I definitely would like to understand it more. Because it's one of those things, like, it's, like, so broad, and then, like, you can break it down in so many... It's like astrology. Like, astrology could take
so many
years and years to master.
You never stop learning with it. You never
Like, it just
stop
gets
learning.
deeper and deeper. Like, your big three, and then all of the planets, and then...
Yeah. And the more time you take, the more you notice. Like, I still notice new things about cards that I've seen a million times.
Yeah.
I used to never be able to... One card I used to never be able to interpret was the moon card. Because I just was like, what the fuck is going on? But that's a reaction. That is an intuition. When you don't know... you look at the moon card, I'm sorry, there's a dog, a lobster, like, a face in the moon, a face in the sun, and then, like, all this water. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. That's the point. That's literally what that card represents, is, like, confusion. If you think about the full moon even, it's the same energy. It's the same energy. Dreamlike state, like, the moon card, when I realized it was appropriate to be confused at the moon card, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this all makes sense. And I'll pick this one, too, because this one used to confuse the fuck out of me. And now I get it.
Oh, I missed that deck. It's so cute. But I remember, like, years ago when I was getting into astrology, I was like, oh, wow, like, I'm so good now. Like, I've mastered it. Yeah. But now the more that I learn...
No, the more you learn, the more you're like, wait, I don't know anything. That's why
everyone around me seems more educated.
I can start talking about, like, almost any, like, zodiac sign. And people are like, oh, you're, like, a big... I'm like, I don't know shit. I'm pulling shit out of my ass right now. Yeah. Like, it took me years to even just feel comfortable, like, making inferences about a zodiac sign. Yes, or, like,
memorizing all of them and what months they were in.
Literally, and that's how I feel about tarot, too. And people have said the similar things where they're like, oh, don't make... It's the best to learn it based off experience. Yeah. That's why I get why people are saying intuition, but it is helpful to use the book, too. Always, like, tie them together, but don't take the book to be the Bible, because there's so many cards that in a certain context, like the sun card is such a fucking happy card. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least one context where you could get that card and it's like, Yeah. It's like, no, this isn't good. Same with, like, people freak out when they get the devil or they get the tower, but it's like, that's actually such a good fucking sign.
Yeah, the devil's not always a bad thing. Exactly. Unless it's, like, I think inverse, though, or reversed.
Which I don't. Do you read reversals?
I said inverse. Yeah.
I don't.
Because if I pull it, it's reversed
I don't
to me.
I don't shuffle my cards so that they're reversed. They're all facing the same way. And I've read for people, and they'll be like, "Do you read reversals?" And I'm like, "No."
Why?
Because I've actually heard somebody else say this exactly. And I remember thinking, like, I am gonna read reversals at the time when I heard this, but this girl was like, "It took me forever to learn. Also, I need 2 cards. I'm not learning them reversed." Sure. And I was like, okay, that's such a vibe. And I love people. I love people who read reversals. Like, I love that. I'm just not doing it. At least, maybe eventually.
Well, I literally have to get the book out for it. Because I
just got comfortable reading them upright. And also, I feel like any card that, like, says something reversed, there's another card that says that upright. You know what I mean? That's so true. It's not like I don't feel like I'm missing anything from it. Like, if one card means happiness upright and means sadness downright, there's another card that just means sadness when it's upright. True. So it's like, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything by not reading reversals, but I also love when people do read reversals because it does flip the picture and like make whatever. I just don't want to do it.
I think reversed ones almost make me more aware to what maybe I have to like improve on or fix. Yeah. Like if something's like, because like I like it because like I'm like, oh, if I get all upright, then like everything's going great and smooth, and then there's nothing I should really like focus to maybe work on or maybe like.
That's not always true,
No, it's not. But sometimes when I get reversed, I'm like, oh, you know, that's that thing in my life that's, you know,
okay, so
holding me back or stagnating.
The 2 cards that I pulled, which these I pulled intentionally, so this is not a reading. I just want to say, I pulled the 5 of Cups, and then I also pulled the 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is one of those cards where I would pull it out when I first got my tarot cards, and I would be like, fuck is that?
Yeah, because it's just...
I'd be like, what am I... And people would be like, read it intuitively. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's just a bunch of sticks.
It's very hard for me.
It is. And then the, this 5 of Cups is such a sweet vibe. So I wrote different things down about each one. When I went through and I read, like, the entire page of what it meant, and I was like, what in my life does this remind me of? So for this one, I put... For 5 of Cups, I put inner child work, connecting with old friends, hanging out with children you know, compassion, kindness, innocence, and getting back to your roots, reconciliation.
Oh, I love that.
So that's like a bunch of different things that could mean, right? Yeah. Depending on the context, like it could be making up with a friend, like, oh, bitch, like, are you fighting with somebody? Because like you need to, but it also could be like, there's some inner child work you need to do, shadow work you need to do. Be kind to yourself. That could be you to somebody else, you to yourself. You know what I mean? So there's just a bunch of different things. And then for Wands, for 8 of Wands, which literally just looks like nothing, I wrote fast movement, news, travel, communication. Everything is swiftly moving forward, so brace yourself for the shift. It'll be fast and energetic. Might feel frantic. Don't say yes to everything or feel like you have to. Which I wouldn't have gotten intuitively, but it does kind of make sense once you look at it. It's just like everything is just kind of like moving forward. In when you think about Wands as a suit of fire, it's like it makes sense, like fast movement, and Wands have a lot to do with like creativity too, I think. So it's like that makes it projects and shit like that. So shit is just moving along. So
then like if you read that for someone and they pulled those cards, like what you just read, each card has so many different meanings that then they can take it in their head and be like, oh, okay, like one of those is relating to also the other card, like one of the other things in that, like.
Exactly. If I had to read these cards together, like if I pulled these and somebody was like, oh, what is this? I would literally be like, you're like, just slow down. Yeah. I don't even know what, again, it could be so many different things. This is why I'm always like pulling back. I never say shit with my full chest with tarot because I'm like, I don't know what's going on in your life. You would know more than I do. But my first instinct would be like, you need to slow down. Like, your life is moving so fucking fast right now, and it's good, and it's great, but you need to remember, like, where you came from and who you are, and, like, just connect back with yourself, connect back with the people, keep yourself grounded, because, like, this is fire and this is water. Those are opposites. So, like, that's the kind of shit that I would read. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's why I feel like it's really nice that you have a lot of different meanings that you're interpreting.
Because, like I said, it was my number. If you have had tarot decks for so long and you don't feel like you can read, literally find somewhere online. You don't have to have that book that I was talking about. I really like that book, but I'm sure it says a lot of the same things that a lot of other books say. And just read the page for one card, and then think about anything in your personal life. And if it's not anything in your personal life, just think about the general vibe it gives you. Even if it's like a movie. Ooh, one of my favorite tarot. Oh my god, this was like that girl White Wands on TikTok. Really highly recommend if you're into tarot.
Okay, I'll definitely check her out.
She said one of her favorite like tarot things to do was to almost do it reverse, right? Instead of like picking cards and trying to interpret them, she would say like, take a song that you like or a movie that you like and tell the story of the song or the movie in tarot cards. And you start to, like, understand the story because you're like, oh, like, you start to think, like, oh, okay, so in this part of the movie, she was really upset. Like, let me go to Swords, because I know Swords has, like, a lot of that vibe, like, anxiety. And then you pull this out. Oh, they got married. Let me go to Cups. Like, Two of Cups. Like, or even Four of Wands is, like, a good, like, marriage one, I think. And then you start to, like, tell the story, even just, like, a song that's, like, 2 minutes long. You're like, what's this song about? And you start to pick cards based off of it. And, like, take a picture of it and just like kind of keep that in your mind and then do it again like the next week. That is a really fun practice. That is so fucking fun. Making stories out of it. It's
that's cool.
Yeah, it is so fucking fun.
It's like, but like it's so like when reading tarot, that's why like sometimes I feel like it is really nice to have all of those things it could be, because if you're so like confident in what you're reading and you're like so bold and you're like it's this one thing, then it's just like, but no, because what if it's not? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
That's why I tell people, I'm like, I mean, I said it before, but like, that's why I tell people, I'm like, I'm not a psychic. I'm not going to tell you your future. At the end of the day, I'm helping you interpret what you already know, right? Like, like you felt these cards, and I feel like the whole thing of like to an extent, there are no coincidences, right? Like, you felt a feeling and I picked out this card. Like, so this is what I'm reading to you. In this moment, this is what you needed to hear. That's one of my favorite questions for tarot.
Yeah.
Is what do I need to hear right now?
Yeah.
Because it's just so broad, and it's like it gives you, and I feel like almost no matter what the question is, I end up just answering that one, which is what do I need to hear right now? Because it is so broad, and it's like whatever you're focused on is going to happen. So people will be like, oh, like, when am I going to find love again? And I'm like, I mean, I don't hate those questions because I get why people ask them, but it's one of those things where it's like, there's so many better questions to ask.
The what do you need to hear is like, so good.
Or what do I, if like more specifically, what do I need to work on right now that's going to get me to find healthy love in the future? Right. That's an amazing question.
Right. Because it's like, so broad that any card in the deck, like, you're going to be okay with getting because it's just, like, you didn't expect anything out of that question. Exactly. So,
but also even just, like, it's a better, like, self question. Like, you should ask questions about yourself and not necessarily, again, like, people say don't ask yes or no questions, which is, like, I get it, because it's like, why are we asking yes or no questions? It's just kind of like limiting pictures. Yeah. But then there was this other girl that was like, yes or no questions are valid, and like people want them for a reason. And the same with like the when am I gonna fall in love again questions. It's like it's not that deep. Like, let people ask those questions and read based off of those questions, which I totally understand. But at the same time, I feel like the point of tarot with divination is so like sacred and beautiful that it's like. Not that it's like shitting on it if you do like a yes or no, or if you do like a superficial question, but it's just like you can get so much out of it. Yeah. Like, you can see so much. There's so many times where like I'll give somebody like the 5 different things or 5 different combinations of like what it can mean, and they all are similar. Yeah. Because it's like it's not that different, but they're more specific. Right. And I'll be like, what? And I'll see a moment where it clicks for them, and I don't even know what clicked because again, I don't know their situation. Yeah. But they'll be like, I needed this. And I'll be like, I'll be like, I don't know what the fuck it was in here, but I'm glad you heard what you needed to hear. Yeah. And like, that's what I love about tarot. And I don't know.
So do you use that book when you read?
I do. So what I started doing, the last time I read for my friend was like maybe like 2 weeks ago or something. I pulled everything out. I was like, I'm going to read based off of what I see first. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to pull out the book. Yeah. I read based off what I saw. I thought it was going to be like 2 minutes, and then I would pull out the book because that's happened in the past, which is normally what I do. I'm like, I'm going to tell you what I think, and then we'll get the book, and we'll consult the book, and we'll see if that brings up anything else. When I tell you, I was saying what I thought about these 3 cards for like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. I was like, how has it been 20 minutes of me just spewing shit about these cards? Right. These 3 cards. So I was like, that's the moment it clicked, where I was like, okay, I feel like I got this now. Yeah. Like, I'm not like a fucking, there's so many people that are amazing, way better at reading than I am, but like I'm way better than I was. And then we got there was buzzwords that I was saying and sticking on, and then when we pulled the book out, it was just like there. The words were there, and it was like, you might even be this, which is like something I said already, and I'm like, well, fuck. Like, and I do use this too to see, like, just the vibe, because this is a very personal one. Like, there's shit about, like, I think my breakup even in here. Like, this is exactly what I felt during my breakup. Yeah. So I won't, like, read it and be like, well, this is like a breakup. But what it helps me do is realize what that feeling is and then kind of relay it in a way that might make sense to them, even though they might not be dealing with it. So that's why it's just such a helpful way to read. And I need to do it for major arcana still, but
it's just, it's nice because it makes it more relative to people, because it leaves more interpretation for themselves to figure out. Because when you just say it's like one bold thing, it doesn't really give them room to be like, their mind can't expand to be like, they're just focused like, oh, so this has to be it.
That's why I tell people, that's why I try to dead that shit immediately. And I tell them, I'm like, I'm not reading your future. So don't sit here and like see these cards and be like, this is my life. Yeah. See these cards and say, this is what I needed to hear right now. This is advice that I needed. Even a mirror. Sometimes tarot cards are literally a mirror. That's literally, like I said, the whole point is to, like, know it. You kind of know what you need to hear already. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, if you have a really shitty boyfriend or something like that, like, treat your friends like shit, and then you're like, you guys like him? It's like, you know the fucking answer, bitch. Right. You just want us to affirm that it's not what you think it is. But it's like, that's kind of how I feel about tarot. It's like, where you know the answer, and you're going to see it because you know it. Yeah. So you're not going to see some shit that doesn't resonate. Right. Like, I might see some shit that doesn't resonate because I'm reading for you, but that's why I'm telling you the 4 different, like, whatever things that it could be. That's, and there's so much, like, the art and the detail in the cards is insane. It's cool. Like I said, there's things I still, like, have never, like, noticed about cards that I'll pull out and be like, this even. And I'll notice it based on, like, the other cards around it, which is so interesting. I'll be like, all this yellow in this card, and I never noticed all this yellow in this card before, and like sometimes I'll even just notice shit and be like, I don't know what the fuck that means, but it's there. Yeah. so look at it and figure it out. Yeah, so I'll be like, something's telling me that that's significant, but I can't tell you what the fuck it is. That's my favorite part about reading tarot is just being like, I don't fucking know. Yeah. I don't fucking know, but I'll tell you what I do know. That's like my favorite thing ever. So yeah, tarot, so fun. Definitely get into it. It's just fun. Don't take it too seriously. I feel like people take it so fucking serious.
It is nice to think of it as like a mirror. Yeah. Kind of just like a second voice, like telling you. Yeah. You know?
And I feel like I took it way too seriously in the beginning because that girl Light Wands, like I was telling you about, she's like, stop asking your cards like crazy deep shit all the time, like every single day. She's like, she's like, one thing I like to do with my cards is literally ask them to describe my morning. It's like, okay, well, I spilled coffee over myself. Like, what do you feel about that? Right. And then the card will spit something out, and then she's like, okay. And then I did this today, and what do you feel about that? Yeah. Or even just like, you know, I don't know. I had, she has, like, all these different descriptors and, like, ways of explaining, like, all the stories in the deck, and, like, it just makes it all so relative. Mm-hmm. Where it's, like, again, like, the very first time I opened my Rider-Waite deck, I looked at all the cards, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck. Yeah. It just was, like, a language that I could not speak. I was like, I don't know, love. And it was so superficial in the beginning, too, because I was like, okay, I get, like, the devil card is bad, but, like, I'm like, what does it mean? Like, you know what I mean? But, like, you start to see the story, like... Yes. Like, the lovers, the lovers card, those are the same people that are in the devil card. Oh. Which is so interesting. And it's, like, they are... That is interesting. And they are representative of Adam and Eve. Okay. Which you kind of think about it.
Yeah, the devil, like, lovers.
So she was... I think it was Light Wands, or maybe I just looked it up and found it somewhere, but... they were talking about how, like, the Lover's card is, like, you think it's so positive, right? Yeah. I actually don't see it as positive anymore. Like, I mean, not as negative, but I don't see it as positive as I did, because it a lot of times can represent, like, naivety, which is, like, just, like, falling into something without really thinking about it, and just, like, if you think about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, it's just, like, oh, this world is so perfect. Yeah. And then Eve eats the apple, and then all this other shit, and that's the devil card really represents not, like, the devil is inside of you, but more of just, like, a loss of control.
with like temptation, stuff like that.
Substances, being addicted to. I really see a lot of like addiction, even alcoholism in the devil card. And one of my favorite details about that card is that they are both chained at the neck. Yeah. But the chains are loose. Yeah. They are loose as fuck. So like they could get out, but they're choosing to be there. Yeah. Which is so important. Cool. That's deep. That is so important.
It's kind of like you're keeping yourself stuck in that situation and you're not trying or willing to change.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's insane, the detail. That's why I'm like, once you actually break free of just like, it kind of like looking at the card and just being like, lovers, like, you're gonna fall in love.
What does that look like in your new deck?
In my new deck, the lovers?
The lovers and the devil.
Let's see. I know what the deck card looks like. That one's my favorite.
Or the deck. I love this deck. Oh my god, it is shiny. Yeah, it's like holographic on the side.
It just like shines. Wow. They are not easy to shuffle though, I'll tell you that.
No, I can't shuffle cards in general. I mean, the Rider deck was the easiest just because it's smaller.
It's small, and then also it does break in easily. Yeah. Like, I feel like that one's broken in. This one, I don't feel like I'm ever going to break it in.
No, I feel like the Rider's
even the texture, that's just the death card, but I love that.
I think the Rider deck is a little bit thicker and rounder edges, so it's just easier. Yes, that's the one that I saw that you sent me on Instagram. That's so good.
Even in this one, you can see that the chains are loose.
Why do I feel like I want to design one? It would be so sick for us to come together and design one.
All like the little details that are in it.
But I can't draw, so like I don't know if she drew all these or if she just like.
I don't think she I don't know if it's like on paper, but she is like an artist. Like she does art like this. She had like a lot of different shit that she was selling on her thing way before this, and she was even trying to come out with like a board game, but
like I could totally come up with the idea, I just can't execute the actual art. Would have to hire an artist for that.
But it would be so iconic to like come up with one of these.
This deck looks huge.
It is just so fucking thick, the ass of it.
What is that?
There's some things I don't like. Like all the pages are just like an ass with a thing.
The page of wands.
They're all the same.
Is so
funny. But like all the other details I really love. I just kind of hate that. Like see, the page of pentacles is just like another ass.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well,
we get it.
We get it. But like
also what else is she supposed?
There's so much detail in like the other ones. Like this is the one that I was talking about.
That is so funny.
8 of Wands, yeah. Where it's like shooting across, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
What deck is this called again? Just so they know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is it the exact?
Yeah.
Exotic Cancer?
Yeah, Exotic Cancer. I don't know if she's selling it anymore. If she's not, I think if she's not selling it, I think she might in the future again, because I don't know if it was like a one-time thing or not. Why can I not find the lovers?
I feel like it's gonna be
doesn't look like the lovers, yeah.
But it's gonna be so like.
But I encourage you to go to her page anyway, because she does a lot of really good artwork and just really cool shit. And I think she 100% will, like, in the future, probably sell these again. Last I saw, she was working on, like, a game. But,
a game?
Yeah, like a board game.
That's sick.
Yeah. Oh, here it is, the lovers.
Wait, why is there not like a tarot board game?
I know.
Like that would be cool because it could like help you learn.
It would help you learn, like tell the story.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Why are we not
that's kind of iconic. If you guys steal that, I'm coming for your fucking
we're patenting that right now.
But yeah, so this is the lovers versus the devil.
You know what I like is that I think this lovers card is very like. Obviously, they're both girls, but, like, they don't have hair.
No,
so
yeah. It's very, like, neutral kind of.
Like, it could be a guy or a girl. Yeah. And then, like, or alienated. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just very non-gender.
But I love that.
It's sick.
And even here, you can see, like, the chains are loose. Like,
yeah.
But, yeah, in the actual Rider-Waite deck, let me pull out the lovers and the devil in there. And I encourage you guys to look at the lovers in the devil card, because there is a story there, and it's so fucking interesting. I remember the first time I like kind of realized how they connected. I was like, oh shit. Like, wait, these are the same people? Like, it was so just cool. Wild to me. Another one of my favorite cards is the Hermit. I love that card.
Yeah.
I love that card. It's all about introspection, like going inside your own mind. Like,
yeah.
I love that one. Is there a card that like comes up for you a lot ever?
I'm trying to think. Let me think. Let me look at these really quick. Because I feel like... So I do kind of feel like it's kind of... Oh, I like how it's giving you, like, one card. Yeah. Past, present, and future. Wow, it gives you a couple different spreads. I feel like... Was it the... I feel like the High Priestess or something came up last time. Or the Empress. It was the Empress. I was like, that's...
Empress is such a nice card. So chill.
And... what else came up? Wow, I love how hers explains, like it will say Wheel of Fortune, then underneath it will say good luck / karma.
That's kind of what my other one does, where it has, like, a bunch of buzzwords that kind of, like, relate to it.
Yeah, what? Like, I love that. Death, endings, resistance.
Yeah.
The Hermit, introspection, isolation. I like that, because then it gives more insight. You know, what's funny, though, is... Wait... It doesn't do...
The reversal?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It does. Usually it says on here it will be, like, when reversed.
I thought that one had it. Maybe... I mean, I don't pay attention, so I guess I wouldn't know anyway. But... That is interesting. I guess she's like, you can go figure it out.
But, like, maybe it means that, like, she's putting in her paragraph of description, like, both goods and bads.
Oh, yeah.
To make it... reversed and
upright. That's the thing too, like, reverse isn't just bad.
Yeah, I know.
Because if you get a bad card in reverse, then it's good.
So, like, right here, like, Ace of Cups, now is the perfect time for you to open your heart. The Ace of Cups appears when you are ready for a creative progression. Then I think this is, like, the reverse. It says, maybe it's time for some new artwork. It also brings the opportunity for new friends, romance, and connections. So, maybe it's time for some new artwork.
Yeah.
Could be, like...
I'm gonna break down a couple... if I can fucking find the King of Cups. Where the fuck is he, bro?
Where the fuck
He's fucking... There he is. Okay. So, now that I've got a couple cards out, and I'll tell you guys what we're looking at the whole time, that way you can, again, like, kind of join in. So now we're looking at the comparison between the Exotic Cancer deck, which is so slate. It's all pink, holographic on the sides. And this one, you can kind of see, like, they look like Adam and Eve. And then you see the snake even with the apple.
Wow.
And then, like, they're the same.
Yep.
People, like, dick, you know, whatever. And then, like, the loose chains and, like, there's some other details that I don't know. It's, like, just basically being, you know, whatever. Love the death card because there's, like, new good shit coming on the horizon. Ooh. And this I love because it looks so scary. But you're in the VIP room. So it's, like, it's so interesting. So one of my... This was the... I'm pulling out the exact spread of what I pulled during my breakup. In the exact order that I pulled it. In this order, from left to right, it was King of Cups, then Queen of Cups, then the Seven of Wands. Of Swords. Now, when I pulled this, I was like, I don't know what the fuck this means. Mm-hmm. The first thing that came to my mind is that it's King and Queen of Cups. Cups has to deal with water. Both me and my ex were water signs. Okay. So I was like, okay, this definitely represents us, but who's who?
Right.
And I didn't really know who was who, because I was like, I feel like I'm the king, because, like, I feel like I have my emotions in check, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, well, what the fuck is this thing? That's where I was confused about that last one. So I just cut it.
Carrying baggage.
I cut it off. I just took a picture, left it for later. Later I found out she was, like, doing some shit behind my back. Like, basically, I don't know if I got cheated on or not fully, but some shit like that, essentially. Right. Like, right after our breakup, was, like, hooking up with this other guy. And came across these and got a chill down my fucking spine because it was in that moment that I realized I was a queen and the shit was going on behind my back. Mm-hmm. So fucking sneaky. This whole card is, like, Seven of Swords is, like, the most, like, sneaky, I'm gonna do this shit right on your fucking nose. I'm gonna take as much as I fucking can and you just don't need to know about it. And I also was like, well, why does it make sense that I'm the queen and she's the king, right? She was emotionally unstable as fuck.
Okay.
But when you really read the difference between the King of Cups and Queen of Cups, you kind of can see the differences between them, where the Queen of Cups is very calm. Even the water around her is, like, not moving. Whereas, like,
disruptive.
She's calm and she's focused on, like, the chalice and, like, this very reminds me of, like, her own heart and her own, like, soul and just kind of, like, focused on that. Whereas the King of Cups is so focused on looking like he's got it under control and being like, oh, yeah, I've got it all under control. Like, all this water around him's, like, sloshing, and he's just kind of like, well, I'm the king. I'm the king. Yeah. Like, he's very much like, I'm going to see what I wrote in my thing about it. But I was like, that makes so much sense because that was definitely her. And now, like, anytime I pull the Seven of Swords, I'm like, fucking ew. Ew. Ew, I get so fucking skeeved out when I pull that card now.
Okay, now I see it does look like a sneaky thing.
Also, I'm not even joking. He kind of looks like the guy that she fucked. I'm not even joking. I literally was like, this is disgusting. And the fact that it was going on, that we're facing each other, and that shit was happening behind my back, like, that is the moment where I was like, Taro's fucking real.
Damn.
And I was telling me shit, like...
I was looking at it different, because it was all the way over there. I thought he was, like... carrying the weight of all these swords. No, now it looks like he's sneaking them and
he's like, I'm stealing this shit. But yeah, then the king is it says like charismatic man, can come off distant, small circle, tries to control emotions maybe too much, needs to take time to process emotions before sharing them, needs to settle a conflict within yourself or with others, unsure whether to be logical or left field. Whereas the queen is an intuitive woman, sensitive, high emotional intelligence, caregiver, chooses friends carefully. When she makes a connection, she cherishes it. Which I put chalice, because in my head I'm like, this is all her relationships, all the things that she cares about, she's confident in, and prioritizes that over, like, trying to look a certain way. In my head. Like, you know what I mean? Where the king is, like, putting on, like, this... Yeah, like he's like got it. Like he's got it in him, but he's just trying so fucking hard that like it comes off like ingenuine. Like, you know what I mean? Or disingenuine. I don't know, fucking word. But yeah, unafraid of intimacy, stable, sets boundaries, follow your heart. I literally was like, when I read that, I was like, this just makes all sense. And the fact that I pulled them in this order, literally shit is happening behind my back. Like, actually shit is happening behind my back. I lost it.
Just like didn't realize it till later. So
because I was so focused on losing what I had, which is like, it's just so fucking weird.
That's crazy.
It's just so strange.
Also, what year do you think that deck came out? Do we know that?
Oh my god, let me look
because
it up.
that looks like very old, like time drawing. You know what I mean? Like it just looks very medieval kind of, and
the Rider-Waite deck.
I would say
from 1909.
Oh, 09. Okay, so I was gonna say further than the 90s, but I was like, there's no way it would have came out that long ago.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But there's like pictures of like 15th century tarot. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the Fool. Like, that's from forever
that's crazy.
ago. So
and it looks like similar to that.
This is actually relatively modern compared to, like, this shit.
That's crazy, though.
So, yeah.
That's still, like,
that's
100 years ago.
Wow.
A whole century ago.
That's crazy, dude. That's wild. But, yeah. So, I mean, that's tarot. In a nutshell, that's what I got. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, tarot's incredible. You need to try it.
Yeah, if you guys have not tried it, I would suggest it. It's a very fun thing.
Watch videos of people online doing it if you want. If you just want, like, an ease into it. Yeah. Watch those, like, there's YouTube videos of people who do readings for you, which a lot of people...
Oh, I used to watch those.
We used to watch those all the time.
Yeah, I used to watch this one girl. I can't remember her name.
I remember we'd send them to each other.
Yeah.
And... a lot of people think those are bullshit because they're like, how are you reading for me? But it's the same thing of like, I'm not going to click on a video I don't feel like is for me. And I'm not going to, like, it all ends up aligning, right? Like, I'm not watching every single video that comes up on my thing. So when I feel the need to watch it, I will. And then I take what resonates.
And they normally do, like, pick a pile and they'll put a crystal next to each pile and you'll pick what crystal like resonates with you most, and usually I'm drawn to one crystal more than the other.
And it's weird because it usually always ends up being something I feel like I needed to hear.
It's an easier way to pick.
Yeah.
When it's, on a video, it's harder when she's like, oh, let's pick a card.
Yeah. Like, tarot's one of those things where it's the same as crystals, where I'm like, even if I'm going to entertain it for 2 seconds, even if you feel like it's all bullshit, if at the end of the day you end up hearing something you needed to hear, then why not do it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we have for you guys on this one, because we are about to run out of time. But if you guys like hearing about tarot or anything, we can do more videos on that. So, yeah, just let us know in the comments below. Bye.